start the video here. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jamie Schwaba, and I just want to thank everybody for joining us both in real time and those that are joining us after the fact. Lisa Douglas, an instructor from the Minnesota Conservatory for the Arts, will be instructing us on how to make some fun bookmarks, corner bookmarks. Of some favorite characters or some fun creatures. This is made possible through a partnership with the Caledonia Public Library, Minnesota Conservatory for the Arts in Main Spring. And this project is made possible with money from the Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the people of Minnesota for the Library Legacy Activities by SELCO, the Southeastern Minnesota Libraries Cooperating System. All right, thanks so much and have a wonderful time. Lisa, I'm handing it over to you.
All right, thanks, Jamie. And I just want to show you how these cute little guys work. So let's take the rabbit, and I have a book here, and I'm just gonna slip this right on the corner of my page. And when I close my book on this one, you can actually still see his ears, but you'll be able to find your spot really easily in your book, whether it's maybe it's your math textbook, or maybe it's just a book you're reading for fun. So you can take these little characters and take them with you for your reading journey. All right, I have on my desktop a few of the supplies you'll want, and out of your kit, what we have is a whole bunch of different colors of construction paper. Your construction paper that you have in this kit are half sheets of the full-size construction paper. So if you want to do more colors and do this project over and over and over again, it works best to take your full-size construction paper page and fold it in half and cut it in half, and we're going to use that to create these cute little bookmarks. And then make sure you save all your scraps of different colors so you can cut things out and decorate them. You'll probably even want some white paper here. I don't think that's construction paper, but I have just some copier paper. So also, if you don't have the color of construction paper that you'd like, you can always do this with white paper. Just copier paper will work. And you can draw, decorate, markers, whatever you want on that white paper, and you can make it whatever color you want. So first of all, let's clean off our desk so we have room to work. You will need mostly just your scissors and your glue stick. I also have this fun little container that has wiggly eyes and magnets and some fun gemstones in it. So keep that close because we're going to want some of those later. Okay, I think I'm going to start with, I don't know what color I want to start with. I might do brown today because I haven't made anything with the brown one yet. And I do have a nice piece of brown paper. Okay, so again, here's my half sheet of brown construction paper. And construction paper is quite inexpensive. I think it's $2 for a big pack of it at Walmart, and I'm sure most of your dollar stores carry it as well. So the half sheet of construction paper is actually just a little bit more than we need. Oh, and also, if you have ever done origami and have origami pages, paper, that's already cut perfectly square, and you can get it in just a ton of colors and patterns and stuff, so that would work as well. We do need a square for this project, so what I'm going to do is take one corner. I like to start with my bottom corner, and I am going to bring that up to a point here, up to the top edge. And I want to make sure that this corner on my top right-hand side is right to the middle of the corner. And then I'm going to line up very carefully the bottom edge that I folded up with the top edge. And then I'm going to carefully kind of press that down and make a line. And then I'm going to go back over it with something hard, maybe like my fingernail, so I have a really good crease there. Okay, then since I'm right-handed, I'm going to take my pencil or a pen. something that you can write with. You could just do this with your scissors if you feel confident, like this, and you can cut right along that line. Just go right, keep your scissors blade right in line all the way up and just cut it off. Then make sure to save the extra brown stuff for decorating other projects. See, now we have a perfect square. So one of the other things you could do with this before you start making too many bookmarks is you could use one of these squares to cut out of any kind of paper. I'm sitting on a white sketchbook paper here. I could cut out or trace with pencil, trace that perfect square, and I could cut it out of any color of copier paper or whatever fun paper you have on hand. So you could use make one of these with the construction paper from your kit and use it as a pattern to cut out of whatever size you want. Okay, once we are ready to fold, we're going to leave our folded edge along the bottom. So this is where my fold was, and I can open it up and pull it towards me. So that's where the point of my triangle is. Then I'm going to take my right side triangle, and I'm going to take that all the way up to the top and line it up as perfectly as I can with the other top corner there. And I'm going to come down here, make a little bit of a crease, and then go back over it pretty hard so you get a really nice flat crease there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I like to almost overlap it, but not quite, so that my bottom corner is really tight there. And I have these two edges laying right next to each other. Then I'm going to crease my left side. And it's okay if they overlap just a little bit. That'll make a nice sharp point on your bottom end. Okay, got both of those creases done. So the next thing I do, and you don't have to do this, but I find it to make things easier, is I'm going to take my right side corner and I'm going to fold it along the bottom. I'm going to line that corner up with the bottom point that I made before and just make a little crease there. Makes it easier to fold it when we need to for our to tuck in our ends. And I'm going to do the left side over as well. I'm going to bring that corner right to the middle and mark that. So those are just little kind of pre-folding it so that you have a really nice marked spot to work with. Okay, so next step, we're going to take just one of our two top corners and we're going to fold it down so that the point of that fits right into the point of the folds as much as you can, and that comes down just to the edge of the bottom edge of the paper. And I'm going to fold that one. Really, that's about all the folding you need to do for this whole project right there. So I'm going to just review that one more time. You can see all the fun folds I have on my paper. So first fold is fold the whole thing in half, line up these corners and make sure that your folds come right to the corner on this side. Then I'm going to fold my right hand side up to my top point, left hand side up to the top point. Get those as even as you can. Mark that with a good solid fold. Open them back up and then also fold them in to the center. Your lines will actually meet there. It almost looks like a little envelope. I'm going to mark the sides on the right and the left. And then I'm going to fold one of the two top pieces down so the point lines up with that crease in the middle, and fold that. Make sure you put something hard like your fingernail. You can use the side of a pencil or a pen or something if you want, and really get your folds nice and tight. Okay, now the two that we folded up are going to go back up, and you can do this one at a time or you can do them both at the same time if you'd like. I am going to open up this piece that I folded down, and I'm going to tuck this one inside, just like that. And then I'm going to folding it up at the middle. I'm also going to tuck that one inside. And you might have to kind of push a little bit and get it all into the corner. And then level everything out. It'll adjust itself a little bit. And I see I didn't quite get mine lined up perfectly, but no one will ever notice that. So now here I have the bookmark that I need. I will just be able to slip it onto a corner of a page, just like that. So you might have to practice a few times to get all your folds to line up just the way you want them. You can always adjust it a little bit. But once you get all the folds tucked in, it'll hold all by itself. And you won't need to do any gluing or anything to get the bookmark to stay in one piece. Okay, so now let's look at my other bookmarks that I did. And you'll see that, oops, I don't have enough space on my camera there. Let's move it down a little bit. You'll see that the green one, the creeper from Minecraft, looks like it's using kind of a square, and the monster and the rabbit look kind of more like they're on a diagonal, like this. So the difference between those is these faces were done on the pocket where it's folded, and this face was done on the back side. So you could actually do both. You could decorate a face on this side, or you could decorate a face on this side. So when the animal ones go onto my page, they're going to be sitting kind of crooked on there. They're on there kind of sideways. The Minecraft creeper, when he sits on there, you'll see his face upright. So that's because that's on the back. When you open this one up, the diagonal is inside. When you put one of these guys on, you can have the face on one side and the other side is the square. So that's how they work. Now we get to have a lot of fun and figure out a bunch of ways to decorate them. So obviously we have the wiggly eyes that are in our little kit, in your little plastic container. So those are great. I drew on some things like whiskers and eyebrows with just a black pen, and you could do any color of pen. I have some different types of teeth here. This guy actually even has a green tongue. So there's all kinds of fun things we could do. And you don't have to follow my examples. You can make up your own faces if you'd like. But here's a couple of ideas. So if you wanted to make a tongue for this one, you could cut a square out of one corner of one piece of your construction paper, and maybe we want to put it in that way. We could make it a little bit bigger, it would come out, or you could put it in this way. Either way, suppose you could bring it down out here. That would be, doesn't quite look like a tongue, maybe it's just a different color there. One of the other things you'll notice the difference between these two is the rabbit's eyes. The white around his eyes looks much bigger. I used the same size wiggly eyes in both of those, but I cut out a white circle and glued that to my purple paper, and then I put the wiggly eyes on the white. So that makes his eyes look bigger than this monster I made over here. Ears. I'm thinking since this one is brown, maybe I should make it look like a horse because I like horses. And I can put some, maybe some hair down the middle. I can draw that in with a pen, to see if I can figure out how to make it look like a horse's nose. So let's make him some ears first of all. So one of the things you can do is always make two of everything. And to do that, you would just fold your paper over. And if you want to draw it out first, that would be really good. If you feel pretty comfortable with what you want to draw, you could just cut it out or the shape you want. I am going to take and put a little tab down on the bottom because that's where I'm going to glue it to the back of my bookmark. So let's see, maybe I want my tab about that long. And then let's see, let's pretend I have a horse's ear here. And I'm just going to put that ear kind of on top of the tab. And you might want to make them bigger. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to cut them bigger. And all I have to do is turn it around the other way and nobody will see my lines anyway. So I'm just going to make it a little bit taller. I'm going to bring it back down here. I'm going to keep turning my paper as I'm cutting. And there's my tab. Now I can flip it over. And I have two ears that are exactly the same. Okay, I think I'm going to make some black that goes inside of his ears. And so I'm going to take a black piece of paper. I actually have some black Post-it notes. Those would probably work just as well. And I think what I'm going to do is cut off just a part of this black. This is why you like to save your scraps when you do construction paper projects, because you can cut all kinds of stuff out of those scraps. Okay, I'm going to fold it, and I'm definitely going to make my black lining part, the insides, I'm going to make it smaller, probably about the size that I did that first one. So it's kind of hard to see if you draw on black paper, but you know what? I have a white pencil here. That'll work. Where's my white pencil? So maybe I want it to look kind of like a flame on a candle. But now I can compare that to what I did here. I think I'm going to need to make it bigger. So let's go out a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. I think that might work okay. So I'm going to cut that one out. And again, I think I'm just going to cut a little bit bigger around the outside edges. And oops. They won't be perfect, but they'll be the same as each other. Oh, and my glue just went onto the floor. Okay. So I think I'm going to glue the insides on first. I'll put those right there. Reach my glue stick that went running away underneath my desk. All right, so one trick I found with these glue sticks is to take the smaller piece and have my glue stick sitting straight up and down. I can set my little piece on there and I can kind of rub it around on the glue stick and then carefully pick it up. I like to pick it up by the little tiny tip so I don't have too much glue on me. And you can kind of slide that into place and then let it dry. Oops. Everything wants to stick to your fingers, so just be careful. Do the same thing. I can get glue pretty much on the whole thing. And we'll line it up, and I'll look at the other one and try to make sure they look about the same. They don't have to be perfect. All right, let's double check and see how we like the looks of those ears. I'm going to put them about like that. Well, maybe I'll put them a little closer together. I like that better. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip my bookmark over, and I'm actually going to I'm going to glue it this way. So the glue is actually going to go on the front of this tab, but I only want it on the tab. So I'm just going to rub just that little bit on. Oops. Make sure to kind of hold it until you get it right where you want it. And I'll put some glue on the other tab and try to line them up about the same way. All right, there we go. That's close. They're not quite equal, but I'll just move it a little bit and then leave it to dry. All right, horses have nice long bits of hair right in between their ears that comes down between their eyes. So I think I'm going to make a little bit of hair there, and I'm going to color it in with a bigger black marker. And it doesn't have to be all colored in, because maybe you can see some of his face behind it. That's up to you. If you wanted to, you could also cut this black piece out of more black construction paper. I just thought that might be a little hard, so I thought we'd use a little bit of marker. Put a little wisp off the top there. I'm going to kind of get it into that crack as much as I can. There we go. Okay, now we're going to need some eyes. You know what? Horses don't have big white rings around their eyes. They have more almost like black eye makeup almost looking around their eyes. So I'm going to take this same piece of black construction paper that I had before. I think I have just enough room to cut a circle up in this corner. So I'm going to start down here, and I'm just going to go around and around and around, and hopefully come back to the beginning. You could probably make that more of an eye shape if you'd like. Let's try that. I'm going to make it come down kind of to a point. And then I'll do the same thing on the bottom. Okay, let's see how that works. Now, since they're the same, I will probably flip one out so that they're actually opposite of each other. Okay, I can see that. Might turn them just a little bit. Versus eyes are kind of on the outside of their face. Yeah, just like that. So back to the glue. A little bit of glue on the back. And get that about where I want it. Then when I put the other one down, I'm going to look at it carefully to see if they match up pretty well. So this one's just like a mirror image. Then Got that part done. I can go into my little set of eyes and things here and decide what size eyes I want. I don't think I want the really big ones. Let's try these. And I could just set one on there and kind of see how I like it. Yep, I think I'll take those two smaller ones. Carefully put everything else back in the container and get the cover on it so you don't spill it. Hate to have to pick all those pieces up off the floor. And then the tricky part here becomes getting these to stick and finding the way to peel off the backing. So kind of got to keep working at it with a fingernail or a thumbnail or something and see if you can get that backing to peel off. And it's just a sticker underneath of it. So then really careful you don't drop it. And some people might like to actually pick those up with a tweezers or something, careful to hold them. You don't want to push too hard on them or you will kind of smash the round plastic that the wiggly eye is inside of. Just press them on firmly. Peel the other one off. Kind of hard to hold on to. Get that in there and look to see if they're in about the same place as the other ones. There we go. Now what do I need? I need some kind of a nose, don't I? So let's see. Maybe his nose is kind of just almost off the edge of the paper, right down to the bottom. Make two of them. And if I wanted to, give him a little nose extension. And I only need one of these because it's going to be the same on both sides. So let's see if I can kind of make it look like he's got a rounded nose at the bottom. I can cut my little tabs off the top there. We could stick that in there. That might be kind of fun. I might make it a little bit smaller. I'm just making this up as we go, so feel free to do the same thing. Make your faces and play with how you like it to look. Put a little bit of glue on the front of this one because I'm going to stick it up inside my pocket and glue it on. Now I could finish that part of his nose. Make that come down here. Make it a little bit bigger. Oops, my glue didn't stick. Uh-oh. Guess I need more glue. But now I know where my nostrils are. I can put a little bit more glue down a little bit further. Get lots of it on there. Now this time I better line them up to where I had them before. Go ahead and finish what I was drawing on there. Oops, this one's not as long as the other one. Just even them up a little bit. And then if you need to, you could trim it to fit, make it should be this one looks like it might be just a little bit long. I could glue a little red tongue on there and make it look like he's sticking out his tongue at us. Just gonna trim that a little bit. Okay, round it out. There you go. And if you want, maybe you want to put in some kind of a mouth on the bottom. Make it look like he's smiling at you a little bit. There we go. If you wanted to, I would probably pretend like the horse's mane is coming down the sides a little bit. And maybe he has a little bit coming in on each side. Just give him a little bit of hair there. And we'll see how he fits on our book now. I'm just doing it on the cover, but that gives us an idea what it would look like. You could get creative and maybe you put some highlights in with maybe a white gel pen, or give him some teeth here. This is just a white colored pencil, something like that. Maybe give him some highlights in his hair. Doesn't have to be that detailed. If you'd like, you could just keep it really simple. And that's just one of a whole bunch of ideas that you could do. All right, so we have a monster, a rabbit, and a horse. And just from a bunch of fun imagination, I just wanted to show you a couple other things. The rabbit has the white around his eyes to make his eyes look bigger than our wiggly eyes. He has a heart-shaped pink gemstone for his nose. The whiskers are drawn on with just a black fine point marker, like a really fine Sharpie, or you could probably do a gel pen, anything like that. I gave him white lining to his ears. The monster doesn't have any ears. I don't know if monsters need ears. I kind of gave him some really funny looking eyebrows, make him look a little scarier. So the monster, when he's on your page, doesn't have any ears that are sticking out. Your ears, you got to be careful, because if you throw that book in your backpack, it might wrinkle your ears or even rip them off. So the other thing you could do with your ears would just be to cut another square piece of paper to cover the whole backside and give it a really good coating of glue all the way around it, and glue that over the tabs. And just be gentle with the ears. It'll work fine. A quick talking about the creeper. He's obviously pixelated, so everything in his face is squares and rectangles. You could cut these out of black paper and glue them on if you'd like. What I would probably do is do 2 squares for the size of his eyes and cut them the same by folding your paper. I might actually, I think like the middle of his nose is probably about that same size, and these 2 rectangles are probably about half of it. So you could probably cut out 5 or 6 of your black squares and then cut them up into smaller pieces and glue them on to give it his face. You could do it a little bit more in the center. The other thing I saw was that if you had some lighter green paper, you could cut squares out of that and put a few light green squares on, and that would also make the pixelated look a little bit more if your background paper was 2 tones at least of green. So have fun, make up your own faces. Doesn't have to be animals, could be monsters, it could be some funny people faces. If you could find some yellow paper, you could do some that look like emoticons. What I'm trying to say, I don't remember what the word is. Little fun shapes and smiley faces and things. or you could actually do any color bookmark that you wanted and cut out a big circle to put here and then draw a face on that. That would be cool too. So lots of variety. As always, we would love if you would take a picture of your finished project, or as many times as you do it, take pictures or put a whole bunch of them in one picture if you want, and send the picture to Miss Stephanie at the Caledonia Public Library. She would love to post these on her Facebook page and for the library. And if you want, you can include you in the picture so we can see who did it, or you could maybe put it in a book or on a book where you're saving your place for future reading, and show us how it works. So I'd love to see all the different faces and ideas that you come up with. I hope you make a couple. There's a bunch of different colors of paper in your kit, so feel free to make more than one. This video will be available in a couple of days if you would like to watch it again and see how things, if you missed something, or if you want to do it again and you need some more ideas. If we will also be sending out an actual kind of like an instruction sheet next week with your reminder to join us, and that would be also the email address that your reminder for the class comes from. You can send any pictures you want to that email address as well. If you have any questions, please ask Ms. Stephanie or reply to the MCA email that you got, and you can share pictures, you can tell us about it and give us some ideas. We hope to see you all next week, and on Tuesday next week I'll send out an email that tells you what supplies you will need for next week's surprise project. So once again, have a good day, have fun, enjoy this lovely weather we're having in southeastern Minnesota, and we can't wait to see what you do with this project.